All right.
Perfect.
Thank you all so much for joining. So, welcome to my studio. You can see in the background, it's more than a mess. More than a mess. I did tidy today, so there you go. It was pretty bad. So what we're going to paint today are just some loose daisies. There you go.
Alrighty.
Layers and yeah, just they're really easy and it's just layers and yeah, there we go. Another look. So we start off with a really light layer, which is our tea layer. So when we're painting in watercolors, we paint in three, more or less three layers. So we do um, tea, milk, and then honey. So if you think of their consistency of how tea, milk, and honey are. So a really light, washy wash first, and then we build it up with some layers and get a bit more depth into it. So that's what we're going to be painting. So I had a bit of a play today. I did paint that one today. That was just
Oh, that's
something I thought
interesting.
I'd make for a workshop, some freesias and some daisies. So funny how I went from thinking no, it was too busy, and then I painted it and thought, no, I do like that one. So there we go.
It's really
That's
good.
that's another one that yeah, I think it's nice. And I used a bit of pencil on it as well. So I think yeah, we'll see. That one might be another workshop. All right. So I've got my watercolors out. I'm just going to use my favorite palette tonight, which is this one. There we go. That's my favorite palette. Probably needs a little bit of a refill in a couple of places, but I don't know, just it's handy for me. It sits on my desk, it's handy and something that I probably use most days. Even when I'm picking up to paint some cards or anything, this is the palette that I use. So anything, anything that might be a card or a really quick demonstration, they're all done with that little palette. Great, it's nice, light, easy. All right, I might turn the camera down and we might get into it. So we're going to start off by painting just some little sample bits first. Practice, warm-ups, practice. So I've just got a piece of scrap that was left over from a workshop. So I'm going to do my warm-ups on the back of that. So you can use anything you like. We'll probably do one or two just to give you the idea of how it works, and then we'll paint something together. I'm going to swap my camera around and we'll get into it. There we go. Okay. Let me see. There we are. All right. So this is my piece of paper that's you know scrap paper. I'll probably either cut it up and make cards out of it or something afterwards. I'm going to use a mop brush, which is what I usually paint with in our any sort of class. So it's just a regular mop brush. It's small-ish. I just find that it makes a nice petal and they're really nice, easy to work with. Um, Other nice brushes I keep in here. A filbert brush, which is the round one. Show you a bit closer. So that's a filbert brush, or just a small round as well. Just really small, nice. They're both Princeton brushes, those two. So a couple of my favorites there. All right, I've got water. So I've got a dirty water from when I was painting before and a clean water. So if I want to rinse off my brush, I rinse it off in the dirty water, put it into the cleans just so I can pull it out easily. I have sprayed my watercolors, just a bit of a spritz on them just to get them activated. There we go. I'll spray in here as well because I tend to use a lot of the paint that's already in the palette first for my first layer. So when we're painting daisies, we're just going to start off with a watery mix. Now these daisies are I've got the petals coming all down and just like a yellow top on them. So we're just going to paint the petals all the way down, dry it off, and then put another layer on it as well. Okay. So I'm just making petal shapes. It's a bit awkward. Okay. All right. Water on my brush and my petal shapes. I'm going to start in the middle with just that. There's a petal. And I'm starting out here and another one. Just anything that's kind of petal shaped. A bit more water. I'm going to go for 5 petals for my first one. And then I'm going to turn around and do this one. As you're going around, you'll figure out how it is. So I've got the shape, and then I'll do my yellow center in here once that's dry. While it's wet, you can add another color into it. I'm going to drop a bit of yellow just in here and let it blend and do its thing. So that way I'll get something like that one. When it's dry, it's probably got a bit of yellow to it in the middle. All right. While that's drying, we'll start another one. I'm going to go pink again. I do one in the middle, about 5. Just that, using the brush to make the shape of the petal. There we go. One's a bit off-sided, but we'll fix that later. So it's just by using the brush to make the shape of the petal. It's just either, you can go either way. It's just one that way and one that way and bringing it to a tip. And that's a petal. One that way, and bring it to a tip. There we go. Another one and another one. There we are. I'm going to drop a bit of yellow into this one. I'll go this one while it's still wet and let it blend out and dry. I'm going to dry that off with a dryer. This is my trusty little heat gun that sits beside me that I dry everything off. So I'm going to dry these off and then we can put another layer on. 1 second. Hopefully I can mute that. What if I do that? There we are. Kerry, do you have got a hairdryer with you, Kerry, or anything? No? Just let them blend in then.
My husband's holding it underneath the fan.
Oh. Oh. Oh, well, hopefully they dry off, but it really doesn't matter. So I'm going to go back in. I'm just going to make a more concentrated colour by picking up a bit more paint and less water. So you can see there, it's certainly less watery. It's just there, just filling up my brush, and I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to go in the middle where each petal, between each petal. So I'm going to go here and here. And there. There we go. And now you've got lots of depth to it. Again. There we are. Right, we can pick up another one and just do a little bit out the back as well. Just so it looks like a bit of a petal out the back. There we are. All right. I like this one. I'm going to add a little bit more to this one just to make it a bit more interesting. Pick up a bit more petals to it. I'm going to drop some of that magenta right in up the top so that darkens the center. We'll make it nice and interesting. All right, I think you get the idea. And then for the centers, I'm just going to use a yellowy orange, and I'm going to go in with probably what I would think more is my honey layer. So I've loaded up my brush straight out of the palette. I can see that, sorry, straight out of the palette. So you can see on my brush, it's really got quite a bit of pigment in the brush. So then I'm just going to dot it in and make that cone shape for the top. So I'm just going to do some dots here and make the cone shape for the top of the daisy, for the center. And there it is. I'll do another one here. This one can be a bit smaller. And I'm okay if it touches in that as well. Where it's wet, it's touching in there and blending nicely. You've still got the definition. While it's wet, you can also drop a darker shade in. Pick up a bit of red and drop a bit of red in here as well. More. So that's really quite, that's my honey layer. So I'm picking up a lot of depth in there. Drop a bit of that in here as well, just to darken up that center, make it interesting. All right, I'm not going to worry too much about this one while we're practicing. So we're just going to give it a stem and some leaves. So I'm going to mix up a green out of my palette. I'm liking this one and a bit of this to darken it up. There we go, that's better. Now we still wanted a little bit waterier than, more water in it than that. There we are, that's nice. So with a nice loose hand, holding my brush really loosely, I'm just going to give it a stem. So thinking about where it's coming from, the center, and kind of the direction that I have it's facing as well. So if I'm thinking there's the center of my flower, my stem is going to come this way, like that, just like that. And then leaves, anything you want your leaves to be. In this one, they're kind of big, long, sharp, pointy leaves. So we'll do something like that. Back into my green and we'll give it some leaves. So just starting with my brush. So on the tip, the body, and then pulling it up to the tip. So I'll do this down here. So from here, body, back up to the tip. And you've got a leaf. Tip, body, leaf. One more up here, from the tip into the body and up there. And really, you know, that's all you need to do for a leaf. You can then go back and add some yellow while it's still wet, or some dark blue to make it really dark. Let's go in here, drop a bit of dark in underneath in the bottom. And that's probably all you need to do for the leaves, and let them dry. There we are. Give this one a stem. That's coming down that way. A couple of leaves. There we go. All right. Got the hang of that, everyone? Not going too fast? All good? All right. All right. So I think we might move on. We'll start our piece. I'm going to work on just another A4 piece of paper. So I'm going to talk a bit about composition. So think about where you're going to place your flowers. 3s and 5s are good. We've got 1, 2, 3 of those and 2 of those. So I've got 5 in that one. 3 purpley colour and 2 of the pink. It also works because it's going across the page this way, so it draws your eye across it as well. Keeping it nice and loose. So holding your brush nice and loosely. And we might start with 3 pink ones, and then we'll add in, or whatever colour you want to paint. So 3 focal flowers and then 2 others. So that one's facing that way, that one's facing that way, and that one's facing straight up. That one's up and that one's out that direction. So think about your directions as well. That's why they're quite easy to get the direction going in the right. So have a think about that. So I'm going to start. I can see my page. There we are. All right. So we want 1, 2, 3, and then a couple of fillers, so, or even just 3 is fine. Will they stick with the pinky colour? We will stick with the pinky colour. All right. So my first wash is just loose, lots of water. You can see there on my palette, there's lots of water. All right. And I'm going to start up here so that I'm not painting over the top of wet flowers. So I'll put 1 flower up here. I'm going to face it out that direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My petals. And another one. So it's just by using the brush to make the petal shapes. Two swoops of the brush to make the petal. This one's joined up a little bit, but I'm okay with that. There we are. And one more, I've got that little bit of watery mix down here. I'll do it fairly straight. 1, 2, 1 out that way. All right, now while it's wet, I'm going to drop some yellow in to make it a little interesting. See how much. There we go. A bit more. It's kind of a orangey bit. Now, if you're not happy with what you've done, you can always use a tissue, just a regular tissue, and pull it back. Now, I've got some puddles there, so I'm just going to dab up those puddles as well, because I don't want that to puddle. Now, this is hasn't quite, it was probably a little bit too dry. So I'm just going to use my tissue to pull it back a little bit. There we are. Still interesting, and that's just going to be my first layer anyway. All right, now while they're drying, I'll add another couple. No, what'll I do? Let's do some purple. Okay, my purple's out here. Let me see that. There we are. Okay, let's do a purple one. A couple of purple ones. So I'll do one here, and maybe a bud even. One here, 2. Okay. And another one. What am I going to do? I'll put it in here. There we are. All right. Okay, while they're drying, we're going to give it some stems. So I'm going to get my green going again. Make it nice green. There we are. Still nice and watery. And using just the tip of my brush, and I'm holding it really lightly. And I'm using my whole arm to paint with. So rather than, coming down tight like this, I'm holding it back, and I am using my whole arm to make the stem. So from the center of this one, it's going to bring it all the way down. The way you get more how I just think it's a more relaxed way of getting the stem right by using your whole arm. There we are. We have stems. We could do the first layer of leaves too. Give me a thumbs up. Are you keeping up? Everyone's good? No. No. Okay. All right. I didn't pop a different colour into my purple, but we'll just work with the purple. Let them go. Okay. How are we going? All good? All right. Well, we've got the green. We'll make some leaves as well. There we are. Mine's very watery in there. I'm just going to do long, skinny leaves, one stroke, tip, body, and tip. You can do as many as you like. Make it interesting. A lot more water. There we go. Tip, body, tip. And if it goes up into the petals, I'm okay with that. There we are. Let's do another one out this way. Going down. There's a definite lightness in, and it's much better if you hold your brush lightly, as light as you can between your, two fingers, as light as possible. And stay relaxed and breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Okay, I'm going to add some other colours into my leaves just to darken them up in places. And it's just a bit of a dance, and don't stress. We're going to soften it off anyway. All right. Just by dropping in some different colours and softening it off. All right. I think my flowers are pretty close to being dry. I'm going to give mine a quick dry and then we'll pop the next layer on. 1 second. Okay, so mine has buckled a little bit, if you can see that. It has, well, there we go. It has buckled just a little bit, so I'm just going to roll it back. There we are. Look, it could have been taped down, but really it doesn't need to be. And it's 300 GSM, so it's thick enough that when we throw a fair bit of water on it, yeah, look, it might roll, but then just roll it back the other way, and there we go. Sitting flat now. Lost my brush. Right, there it is. All right. Are we ready to pop another layer on the petals? Yes? Good. All right. So back into my pink, and I'm just going to add a little bit more so it's more like milk. And I'm just going to add another layer of petals over the top. So, and I'm going between in between these petals. So same movement, just a couple of swoops. Just by letting the brush do the work for you. I'm going to add another one outside. So it's a bit, you can see it out the back of the flower. There we are. I'm going to add a little bit of that yellow again, just in there. We'll just see how that happens again. All right. Let it dry. Next one. That magenta, I need to fill that one back up. It's nearly all gone. All right, this one. Same again between the petals that you already had. So it's building up the depth. Those petals are now in the background, and there's another layer out to the side. There we are. All right, a little bit of yellowy orange in there. Let it bleed. Okay. My last one. Last pink one anyway. Okay. One more. And it really is by using the shape of the brush to make the mark for you. Going to add yellow this time in here. It's a bit lighter. So they're a bit different. All right. Same again. So with my purple, I'm going to go more, I might even add some blue into that. You can just see that. I'm going to add a bit of blue into that just to make it a bit more of an interesting colour. There we are. All right. And same again. Petals between the petals. And if they touch over here, just and blend, just adds to the interest. So see, here they've just touched and I'm okay with that. Okay. One more. There we are. Okay. I might have quite looking at mine on the camera and they look quite vibrant. There we are. All right. A little bit of darkness, a little bit of interest on the leaves, and then all we have to do is the centers and maybe a bit of splashy fun to finish off with. Right, my leaves are feeling a little flat, so I'm gonna go with something a bit more vibrant over the top. So I've picked up more of this sort of real yellowy green. See how it is. There we are. All right, same again, and I'm just going to go over them to make over the same leaves I've got with the same mark. So tip, body, and tip. And that'll just bring them to life a little bit. Yeah, one down here. This is a bit more yellow as well, what I've just used. I think it just is bringing it to life that little bit more. There we are. Here. And a little bit on the stems as well, just to tie it all in. I have come right down on the pointy bit of my brush and I'm holding it right down close just to stay on that line of where the stems are, but I'm not going to do the whole stem. Okay. There we are. A little bit more. A few leaves. There we are. All right. I'm liking mine. I think it's coming along nicely. All right, I'm going to dry mine off. I will be back in a sec. Okay, I'm back. It did roll a little bit, but I've straightened it back out again. So if you are watching this in the replay, know that you can just pause and catch up and take your time. Remember to breathe, all that. Kerry's got a husband drying it off for her. I can see that. Hey. All right. So I'll just show you up close. So I'm pretty happy with the separation I've got with my petals. I could come back with a really fine brush. Where's my rigger? There it is. A really fine brush, and we can separate the petals out a little bit more. We might I'll show you how to do that at the end, but we'll do the centers first. I am going to do, I was going to do them yellow. Yes, I think we'll stick with yellow. I've got a yellowy orange color, so up here. So I'm going in, loading up my brush right into the whole, the little palette. So it's got quite a bit of paint in there and not a lot of water in there. And I'm just going to make the centers like we did in our practice ones. So just little dots, and however big or small that you want, and just fill it in. And by doing dots, that will also leave us some white space. So that's kind of working as our highlights as well. There we go. Kind of like a coneflower now, not daisies. Anyway, go back in here. Just by dotting it on. And then we can drop a little bit more darker colour in to give it some darkness around the bottom as well. So I have come right down on the tip of my brush and holding it down just so I do have a bit more control. And by doing it that way, look at that. Right, I'm going to pick up, I think I'll just go the darker shade of orange I've got here. I was thinking some red, but I won't go too wild. Let's drop a little. No, it's not really dark enough. So I am going to go back in. I'm going to try a bit of red. It's kind of not right yet either. A little bit of red just in the bottom of it, just to give it a bit of depth and darkness as well. A little bit down here. When it dries, make it interesting. Okay, the two purple ones. Loading up my brush again. It's got quite a bit of paint there in the tip. Do you see that? Let me see, my camera's not quite working. Tip's all loaded up with the paint. And I'm just going to make my dots. Yeah, there we are. And the last one. Well, I've still got some paint on there. There we go. So by just dotting it, that is leaving me some highlights as well. So where the sun might be hitting it, I'm going to go back in and pick up that red. I'm liking it as it's starting to dry. I pick up that red and just add that a little bit into the bottom, let it blend in with all those dots, just to give it a bit of depth. Okay. There we go. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Other than this petal here is, they've kind of mushed in together, they just need to be separated out a little bit. So I like to do that with the rigger brush. So that's a number 1 liner, really, really fine. I'm just going to go in, so I've just a little bit of water. I'm going to pick up the straight pigment. So this is more like my honey layer. And what I'm going to do is just make a little line between the petals. I'm not going to touch that center, the yellow dots there. So now I've got a bit of a line. Now I'm going to soften that off. I'm only going to soften one side and leave one side hard, so that I'm going to go this way, turn that around. You can see that it's a bit hard to see. So what I'm going to do is just soften that off into that petal. So that has just, oh, I've picked up some there. So that way, no, that's running away on me. I don't want that. There we are. So now I have just separated that petal out a little bit. You can see it. You'll probably see it more once it's dry. But I've made a line so that you can see that there is actually a petal rather than a blob. So you could do the same here, just to separate that out as well. Have the darker colour. A little bit here. That's still a bit wet. And separating that off. There we go. Well, that's just a way to just define some of the petals a little bit. You can even push and pull a little bit. There we go. All right. Now, I think the only thing I'm going to do is to add some splatters. So when I'm adding splatters, it just gives a bit of atmosphere to the painting. So you can see there's some splatters up here. So I usually just pick one or probably one colour out of it and load up a watery mix into my brush. Fair bit of water. I'll stick with that pinky colour. A bit more colour. There we are. Fair bit of water. And I'm just going to give it a splatter. So I'm just going to touch the tip of the brush. Just by tapping it, it'll give me some splattery dots everywhere. And a little bit down here, just to tie it all in composition wise. A little bit up here. There we are. All right. There we go. There's some daisies. I'll give it a quick dry off while you're catching up, and then we can have a chat. There we go. Oh, it's still a little bit wet. All that back. But that's probably, you know, they're just a nice, easy daisy, coneflower, whatever you like to call them, by making the brush do the work for you, using the brush to make the marks of the petal. And it really is just that brush, by using the tip and the body and the tip for the brush for each petal. So by using the brush to make the mark is what we did. So really that would be something really easy that you should be able to pick up and, you know, paint someone a card, or you know, fill in an hour or so. There you go. We could add a little bit of yellow as well, a little bit of pencil. Grab a yellow pencil. I'll grab a yellow pencil here. I'm just going to add a bit of pencil around my leaves as well, just to make it a bit interesting. Yellow just adds a bit of zing here and there, a bit up here. There we go. You probably can't even see it, but a bit of yellow adds a little bit of zing as well. I love to put a bit of pencil here and there, nice and loosely. Doesn't have to be anything in particular. I certainly haven't gone, it's not an outline, but they're just there, just some different marks. All right. Okay. we go. Come back and we'll have a bit of a chat. Let me change around again. Back. There we go. How long did that take? 46 minutes. We've done well. There we go. Let me show you. There's mine. There you go. So there you go. Bit of practice and, you know, it's a whole lot of fun. There we go. One more look. I don't know if you can see the yellow. Probably it's a bit hard on that camera. You can see the yellow if you know what you know to look for it. The yellow's there, and it does just bring it to life that little bit. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you so much for joining. And if you are watching it in your own time, let me know how you go. I would love to see some photos of what you do. Tag me in it, pop them in the Facebook group, whatever you like. Thank you if you did join me live. That was a whole lot of fun on a Thursday night, and Kerry's internet didn't fail her, so she's all good. There we go. All right. Can you show me? Can you show me? Is it drippy?
Oh, that's really good. Unlike mine.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yours.
No, mine's disgusting. So I did the hairdryer, and guess what?
Oh, it bled.
Oh, hang on, let me take the thing off.
Oh,
Why is it?
It blew everywhere.
oh, did it?
Yeah.
All right.
I obviously did too much tea. It just blew everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it's beautiful, Michelle.
No, it's crap. I so can't do watercolor.
Oh, it's just practice. Just
Mine,
practice.
mine did that too. This
You
one
make
here,
it so easy.
this one bled altogether.
Show me again, Carrie.
This one.
No, I think it's beautiful.
No, it's too
Looks good.
blob.
Oh, too hard on yourself. It's
No,
not-
but I think it'll be a really good one to have a practice again.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you think it's too much of a blob, then come back with that fine liner
Mm.
and that really, really fine liner and separate the petals out. Mine was certainly a blob. That one up the top was certainly a blob, and just by separating those petals out,
Yeah.
blobby's gone. There you go.
My theory is if I'm going to make little gift cards or something with them, I
Yeah.
can just use the ones that look good and don't worry about the rest of them.
Paint over it. Just and push them into the background. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that, by using a fine liner, you'll pick up pick up petals that you want to pick up and leave others go into the background like they're, far, far away.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for joining.
Nice to meet you, Michelle.
Meet you too, Kerry.
All right, I'm going to stop recording.